Why is it that we reach for porn? Why is it that we reach for sex?
Yeah.
Why is it that we reach for the screen, alcohol, tobacco, you name it? Here we go again.
What's up, bro?
Here we go again.
Having my afternoon iced coffee.
Beautiful.
Little
I'm having my
pick-me-up.
afternoon smoothie, my green
you go.
smoothie, which is delicious.
There you
Yes,
go.
sir.
Good to see you, man.
Hey, welcome.
Welcome back, listeners.
brother.
Welcome back to the Porn to Purpose podcast, episode 3492. No, I'm kidding. We don't have that many episodes. We don't podcast on a daily basis, and that would take like 9 years of daily podcasting.
We're up above 100 now, so we're doing all right.
Yeah, we're in the hundreds. Welcome back. Glad that you're here listening. I'm your co-host Yeadon, co-host Matt Sinkovitz here, coming at you with another week of stories and conversations around going from porn to purpose, the recovery journey, lessons we've learned, practices we put in place, just having an open and honest conversation about this topic, which is a pretty scary topic to talk about. And here we are podcasting about it. So you're welcome. Y'all, today we got a pretty recent story that I want to share with you, right? When I was working on the outline for what we're going to talk about this week, came up with the night my inner child woke up. Bum, bum, bum. Sounds super scary, but really it's not. Matt, where you live, you have dogs?
I have a couple, yes.
You have a couple dogs. Yeah, we have a couple dogs. This story started with a dog. And no, get your mind out of the gutter, okay? I know we're talking about porn, but no, this is not, we're not going there. So in my house, we have 3 dogs. The reason we have 3 dogs is because our first dog needed a buddy. We got a second dog, and then we rescued a third dog from a neighbor down the street. And it turns out the third dog is the most snuggly, does not enjoy sleeping in the crate by herself, wants to be in a room with a person, preferably, lying next to them in bed. And this dog, her name is Etta, she normally sleeps with me, gets in bed, sleeps right down between my feet. Then we get up at early hours and I'd start doing my recovery work. We go for a walk. And this particular night, my 12-year-old son said, "Dad, can Etta sleep in bed with me?" I'm like, "Sure, that's no problem." He said, "Also, could you come get her, after I'm asleep, like 10 o'clock? Because I had some late night projects to work on around the house. I was going to bed later. Might have been staying up watching a Netflix show with one of my teenage boys. I forget exactly what it was. But he asked if after he fell asleep, if I could go get the dog out of his bed because he didn't really want to get up at 5 a.m. when she wakes up. He's like, "I'm hoping to sleep in on Saturday morning. Is that okay?" I'm like, "Sure, that's no problem." So as a good dad, it's around 10 o'clock at night, and I'm exercising my ninja skills, slowly going into his, open the door softly, walk into his room. I see Etta there lying next to him. He's got his sleeping mask on, falling, he's dead asleep. I'm thinking, okay, I want to be really careful, try not to wake him up, slowly get the dog out of the bed. Got the dog out of the bed, and, just moving the dog, he got startled. And I don't know if you've seen Monsters, Inc. Matt, have you seen that movie? You have not. So for all those dads out there, I know you're familiar with Monsters, Inc. because if you have kids, you've seen it. It was like the scene where they're using the simulator. They go in, they're trying to sneak around the room. If they're too loud, they wake the little animatronic kid up, pops up, and starts making noise. And you fail the test as a monster in this Pixar movie, Monsters, Inc. It was like that had happened. Oliver startled awake. He's like, gets his mask. He's like, his whole body was twitching. His whole body was shaking, just total disorientation. He's like, what's going on? Just, I could see like stark terror coursing through his nervous system. And of course, I accidentally woke him up. So I'm like, hey, bro, it's okay. It's just me. It's dad. You're safe. You're safe. It's okay. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to wake you up. I'm here to get Etta. I got her. You can go back to sleep. You're safe. And as I was carrying Etta back to my room to, get her in my bed so she could sleep between my feet, my brain started to process. And I started to think, the parallel between my 12-year-old son startling awake in freaking out mode, not knowing what's going on, only aware from his nervous system and his emotions, something is wrong and I'm not okay. That's what was going on for him. Something's up, something's wrong, something's not okay. I'm not safe. It was a bittersweet moment because the bitter part is I didn't want to wake him up. The sweet part was I got to be the present, safe, stable, calm dad in that moment and reassure him and say, hey man, you are safe. It's okay. And my brain just in a moment, it made the connection between this real life situation with my 12-year-old son and what so often happens to me with my inner child when that inner voice, that inner addict, that inner critic, that inner child, whatever the term is that you use for that part of you, that you're just going through your day, get bumped into emotionally, gets some stress, conflict, whatever happens, you feel under attack, that inner child is startled awake. And the only thing that the inner child is thinking is, I'm not okay. I'm in danger. Something's not right. Not okay. I need help. And of course, being an addict to porn for most of my life, now I'm in recovery, but dealing with an addiction to porn, that's what that inner child would naturally reach out to and gravitate towards. It's like, hey, you're not okay. Something's wrong on the inside. We need to feel okay. We need to feel wanted, loved, affirmed. We need a dopamine hit. And I would reach out to porn in those moments to force all of that anxiety, force all of those thoughts, force all of those emotions to the side momentarily. So the analogy that I accidentally created in real life was this live representation of what it's like to soothe my inner child, of working with my inner parts that freak out in those moments, that go on high alert instantaneously without me even meaning for it to happen, without me realizing that it had just bam, suddenly it's there. Right? And that happens to me regularly. I'm on a walk with my wife and we were on a walk with the dogs. Just the other day, this happened just last week, like my inner child started reacting where walking on the dog and I accidentally, I threw the junk mail in the recycle bin and she's like, poop bag. I'm like, oh yeah. And I just threw it in the recycle bin without thinking. And she's like, did you just throw that in the recycle bin? Innocent question. An obvious question. Like, hey man, you can't throw a bag of dog poop in the recycle. You got to throw it in the trash. I reached in and got it out and put it in the trash can. But in that moment, my inner child was startled awake. My inner addict roared to life. It's like, oh my gosh, the story in my head that spun out of control was, man, I just got suckered into throwing this in the recycle bin. And I felt guilty, I felt ashamed, I felt fear over something totally innocent. I had no plans to end my walk on an emotional stress out, freak out moment. And yet it happened. Now, it took me longer to calm down than it took my son to calm down and go back to sleep. But the process really is the same. It's building that awareness inside that, oh, something just happened. I don't feel okay. The DJ in my head started spinning that record of Danger, Will Robinson, Danger. The volume cranked to the max. And it's in those moments where I get to show up as my own father, right? I get to parent myself and say, hey, you're okay. This is not real. This is not real. So that's the topic. That's the story that just recently happened to me. These 2 episodes where my inner child freaked out. I didn't do such a good job soothing my inner child on that day, I'll be honest. But then my live 12-year-old actual child freaked out. And I was able to help him calm down with this peaceful presence that I'm learning more and more to bring that same peaceful presence to myself in those moments.
Yeah, Yeadon, this is beautiful work, man. And I think it's really the basis of so much of the work that we do here inside the community. I began exploring with these ideas of the inner child, I would say 5-6 years ago, through the work that we dig into within the Liberation Boot Camp, George Collins' work, Breaking the Cycle, where he has us kind of describe and picture this little boy that exists within all of us, and beginning to open up the dialogue with these different aspects of ourselves. There's another guy by the name of Richard Schwartz, and he's got a book called No Bad Parts, where he does these subpersonality dialogues, right? He calls it parts work. And I got to shout out our man and a friend of the Porn to Purpose community, Dr. Eddie Caparucci.
Absolutely.
Which outlines and articulates this concept really well. And Dr. Eddie actually has 9 kind of children that exist or reside within all of us. He's got the bored child, unaffirmed child, unnoticed, emotionally void child, lack of control, entitled, inferior or weak, stressed, and then the sexually stimulated or abused child, right? So as Yeadon's mentioning, like it's just like navigating in life, and it's bumping up against life, whether it's stress or it's relationships, or it's work or money or boredom or not being seen. It's just navigating life. And then these different aspects of ourselves, which are needing and wanting to be loved, to be healed, to be met, to be comforted, to be supported, they become active and they rear their head. I won't say ugly head. They rear their heads, right? And then oftentimes what we do is because so many of us, right, I'm speaking generally, but so many men lack the healthy coping skills, we reach for our stuff.
Yep.
And this is the premise of Dr. Eddie's book, breaking this, going deeper, and then in the inner child work around why is it that we reach for porn? Why is it that we reach for sex? Why is it that we reach for, name your thing, guys, the screen, alcohol, tobacco, you name it. There's aspects of ourselves which are calling out, which are crying out for attention, for love, for nurture, for comfort, for support, for healing. And it's almost like early in our growth that we're not even aware of these different parts of ourselves, and we just bullheadedly go reaching for the stuff. But that creates only more destruction in our lives.
Yeah. I mean, we say it all the time. Don't have a porn problem. You have a pain problem.
That's right.
And porn is the pill that you take for the pain.
That's right. So much of the work that we're doing here inside the community is emotional intelligence. We say that over and over again, but like learning to cultivate emotional and self-awareness, learning to recognize that these parts exist, learning to open up dialogue and conversation with them, and ultimately learning to meet them and be with them and learn to meet our needs in healthy ways.
Yeah.
Right. Learn and what we can begin to do, just like Yeadon and his son, the story with Oliver, we can learn to be that healthy parent voice to our inner child, right? The addict, right? The bored, the lonely, the part of us that feels unvalidated or unloved or disconnected or whatever it is. We can learn to be that for ourselves. And
you know, talking about like real children, I've even done this exercise with not all of my children, but one of the things as a parent is you get to the point where it's like, okay, when you have small children, at some point we had to, I forget which one, but we had to work with one of our kids. We have 4 kids, 17, 15, 12, and 10. And I know we had to work with at least one of them on this self-regulating skill, especially around bedtime, because it's like, look, child, I love you, but you are safe in your room. I know you don't feel safe, but you can't come into mom and dad's room every night 2 hours after you've lights out, gone to bed, saying, I'm nervous, or just you can't interrupt our sleep. It's like we can't handle it. You're not getting good sleep. You're not learning how to self-regulate in that moment. And this is a very specific moment where we've worked with at least one of our children on, hey, when this happens, if you're having a hard time going to sleep, you start getting nervous, this is what you can do. Deep breaths, remind yourself that mom and dad love you, that a good night's, you're going to feel better in the morning, that there is no monster under the bed, there's no monster in the closet. You know, even having a nightlight sometimes, be like, I'm okay. Even though I'm alone in my room, I'm not alone. My parents are right outside the door, down the hall, wherever we are. I'm safe. Learning that skill as a child so that a child can just not get out of bed and go right into mom and dad's room night after night after night. We've used this practice with our actual children. Right. And it's more difficult to learn it for ourselves. But that really is the work. Building that awareness, applying that same care that we have to our children, applying it to us like, oh, hey, I'm okay. Yeah. I'm okay. There's no saber-toothed tiger chasing me down.
That's it. So
what are some ways we can learn? What are some ways we can learn that skill, Matt? Because it is a skill that anybody can learn. It just takes practice and repetition.
Yep. So, that's what I would love to, like, I was talking to Yeadon a little bit before the show. Like, I'd love to give you brothers that are listening out there some practical stuff. Like, how do you really begin to go about cultivating this skill set for yourself? And so right off the bat, I got to give you just some of the foundational practices that we work with inside the Liberation Bootcamp. And that's part of the Daily Core 4. That's daily meditation and daily journaling practices. Through our daily meditation practice, we can learn to cultivate self-awareness. We can learn to become more aware of these parts of us that are activated. And as we practice mindfulness every single day, we learn to notice, oh, there's a part of me that feels sad. There's a part of me that feels angry. There's a part of me that feels anxious. There's a part of me that feels discontent and wants to get up and go do anything else than sit here right now. So we can learn to become aware of these aspects of ourselves. Number 2, we can learn to sit with these aspects of ourselves. Masculine and relationship, G.S. Youngblood talks about one of the aspects of the healthy masculine is to learn to respond versus react, right? So we can cultivate the capacity to, whenever these emotions are activated versus reacting by grabbing our stuff or freaking out, we can learn to sit with these aspects of ourselves and be present with them, right? Through our daily journaling practice, we can create, for me, journaling has become like my own daily self-therapy. I have a place to speak and to articulate and to vent what's going on for myself. It's very cathartic. So we can begin to like process what's going on for us in healthy ways. And we can also begin to dialogue with these different aspects of ourselves. We've offered you guys some good resources today. Dr. Eddie's work around the inner child work, George Collins, Breaking the Cycle, and Richard Schwartz, the parts work, No Bad Parts, right? All beautiful pieces of work that begin to open up or help develop the skill set to develop relationship with these aspects of ourselves. And finally, I want to give you guys like the foundational practice that I've developed for myself and I share with the brothers inside the Liberation Bootcamp. Just like any relationship, right? If you see your parent or a friend, right, once a month or once a year, right, or you see your kids just once a week, that relationship is going to be weak. But the more time you spend with that person, with that relationship, and the more intentional you are about making daily deposits, that relationship becomes stronger. Just like prayer, the more we pray, I think that relationship with the divine, whatever that might mean for you, becomes stronger, right, and more established. So with that, and I got this practice from one of my therapists that I worked with early on, or not early, a couple years ago. He was doing work around parts work, and he was also a CSAT, certified sex addiction therapist. And one of the practices he gave me was every single day checking in with myself and establishing that relationship. Like, hey, brother, I'm here. I'm listening. I'm paying attention. I got you. What do you need? Like, let's open up this line of communication. So for me, this daily practice for me has become a daily practice where every single day I do it in the shower, right? Because I like to anchor it with a part of my day. I place my hand over my heart and I check in with myself. And I really just sit with myself for a moment. And it's like, I'm like, just like Yeadon with Oliver in the bedroom, I've got my hand over my heart and say, hey, I'm here. I'm listening. I'm paying attention. What do you need? You know, I got you. And just every single day, putting the deposit in the bank account in the relationship with myself. And then as I do that, the relationship's there. I'm more in tune with myself. And when I need it, the relationship's established.
Yeah. Now, I know there's somebody out there listening thinking like, man, I ain't going to be the guy talking to myself in the shower. That sounds crazy talk. But guys, all we're talking about scientifically is we're retraining our subconscious. That's what's happening, right? There's that subconscious part of our brain. This is the part of the brain that keeps you breathing when you're asleep. It keeps your heart beating. You don't think about what your heart is doing. It just does it. When I'm asleep, I'm not consciously breathing. It's that part of our brain that's created these pathways of reactivity and reaction. And when we say things out loud to ourselves, our subconscious can't tell the difference. That's the thing. Our brains lie to us all the time. And when we vocalize out loud, it's like, hey, you're safe. What's going on? What do we really need? Our subconscious starts to repatholize. I don't know what the term is, but our brain slowly becomes rewired. The synapses become more aligned with peace, power, recovery, sobriety,
safety,
and freedom. Right? So we're not talking like, we're not talking like two different personalities talking with each other in the shower. We're talking about just having a conversation with yourself like, hey man, what do you need today, Yeadon? What's going on? What's present? And then letting the thoughts come, letting the emotions come. And then being the parent, being the adult, being the safe space to say, oh yeah, maybe the story is I'm overloaded at work. Maybe the story is my wife's given me an ultimatum, or I feel like my kids don't respect me, or my partner in my company is threatening me. Who knows what the story is that's going on inside your head? But letting that story happen and just being, okay, in the midst of that story, I'm safe. In the midst of whatever the story is in our head, in the midst of whatever emotions show up, just reminding ourselves, you're okay. You're okay. You just got startled.
Yep.
We're going to get through this.
Yep.
Let's find a healthy way to process this emotion instead of just taking our pill that forces it all to the side.
It's partly like becoming our own best friend. I think that's a lot of what it is, man.
Yeah.
Like learning to be our own best ally, our own best advocate. and cultivating that relationship daily, just like you want to do probably with your kids and with your partner,
Yeah.
with your wife,
Exactly right, man. Exactly right. So y'all, listening to this, and even me talking about it out loud, I recognize it is easy to say and very difficult to do. But here's the secret. It's a skill that you can develop.
It's a muscle.
It's a muscle. I don't remember learning how to walk. I don't remember that. I can walk fine at age 44, but I don't remember what it was like at 18 months, 12 months, 15 months to learn how to walk. With 4 children, I have seen what it's like to learn how to walk. And all I can say is I'm grateful that I learned how to walk when my butt was a foot off the ground and I only weighed, 25 pounds. Because if we didn't learn how to walk till we were 18 and, tall and full grown, it would be really painful to learn how to walk and fall on our butt. It is going to feel painful learning this skill as an adult, not going to lie. Because we experience these emotional pains. We experience these stressful thoughts. But with focus, it is very possible to realign the pathways in our brain, to build this muscle over time to the point where when we get startled, we're aware of it right in the moment. And we can pause and process what's actually going on here. Oh, yeah, that's just an old emotional wound that somebody bumped into accidentally. There's no harm. There's no foul. I'm safe. No malicious intent. I'm okay. And I'll tell you what, brothers, this skill, you will learn it so much faster if you're in a community. If you're in a community with men doing this work where you have the safety to be visible, to be authentic, to be transparent, to lean in. It's like, man, I had this emotional episode and I exploded. Being able to bring that to a group of men that are going to support you and say, yeah, dude, that's tough. That happened to me. What do you need support-wise so that you can exercise this muscle again? Let's unpack it together so you can be better, be faster, be stronger next time it happens. So, and where could they find such a community, Matt, if only?
Well, that's a great question, Yeadon, but I think there's probably one place they could check out a little bit more about this kind of community. It might be at www.porntopurpose.com.
Porntopurpose.com, brother. Check it out. If you're looking for a community to really turbocharge this skill work, this deep work, check it out. We got the Liberation Bootcamp, which is a 6-month program where we're actively teaching and practicing these skills as a community to build this skill so that we don't have to reach for the pain pill of porn anymore. When there's emotional pain, we can cope with it with strength and peace and health instead of guilt, fear, and shame.
Yeah.
So check us out, porntopurpose.com. And if this podcast resonates with you, please give us a like, give us a follow, share it with a friend, give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It really does make a difference in spreading this message of purpose and freedom from porn.
Yeah.
And on that note, man, thanks for hanging with us this week. I'm Yeadon, my co-host Matt.
Yeadon, thank you so much, brother.
Catch you on the next one. Peace.
Brothers, peace.
And power.
Power. Noble men.
Thanks,
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, y'all.